One last rulemaking hurrah for President Obama. He's trying to squeeze in a few thousand more regulations before he leaves office in what Republicans consider another end run around Congress. Chief Legal Correspondent Shannon Bream looks at the rules and the politics.
President Obama has been regulator-in-chief.
With the latest White House release of pending federal regulations, the total for President Obama's tenure now sits at 20,642. Analysts estimate the real-world cost has a $2 trillion impact annually on the U.S. economy.
A lot of these regulations, people should understand, these are being put on the books by bureaucrats, not by their lawmakers. These aren't going through Congress and having our lawmakers vote on them.
By executive order, President Obama has cautioned agencies that federal regulations, quote, must protect public health, welfare, safety, and our environment while promoting economic growth, innovation, competitiveness, and job creation. Critics argue there's been no balance and say the increased regulatory costs for businesses are being passed along to consumers in the form of higher electricity, gas, and grocery bills. Last year's most costly regulation was the EPA's Clean Power Plan, with an annual price tag of at least $7.2 billion. So where do those hoping to replace the president stand? Presumptive GOP nominee Donald Trump has blasted President Obama over the burden of federal regulations, calling them a stealth tax.
I'm small government and I'm very little regulation. You know, the regulations are killing. If you look at small businesses and big businesses, not even small, big businesses, but you look at businesses in this country, they are regulated to a point they can't even function anymore.
Hillary Clinton, the Democrats' likely nominee, has acknowledged that small businesses in the U.S. are struggling, in part due to the regulatory burden, but says she'd impose new rules in fields from banking to energy production.
I will do everything I can as president to set the rules, to set the regulations, to try to figure out how to influence states.
Analysts say both Republicans and Democrats are to blame for the current regulatory burden and point the finger at Congress for abdicating too much of its power to federal agencies. Brett?
And Shannon, today some states are pushing back against the Obama administration's transgender bathroom rules for schools. What can you tell us about that?
Well, it's a coalition of 11 states led by Texas. They're pushing back against the administration's mandate that essentially tells school districts across the country they have to allow transgender students to access all facilities and programs based on the gender they identify with or face losing federal funding. In the lawsuit, these states are arguing that the administration has conspired to turn schools into, quote, laboratories for a massive social experiment. And while the case is proceeding, the states have asked for an immediate injunction to block the policies from ever taking effect. Brett?
Okay, we'll follow that. Shannon, thank you.